Hello, this is Sarfaz Niazi coming to you from Chicago and talking about my most favorite topic, of course, biosimilars. But this time I'll talk about a global market action plan, very old saying that do it locally and sell it globally. And what are the future opportunities that are available to you as so many things have changed in the past 20 years since biosimilars were introduced? So first of all, let's take a look at the guideline approval, how that has affected the acceptance of biosimilars. Um, as you know, Europe was the first one, and many countries have developed a guideline. And these all fall into four categories. One of them is they simply follow FDA or EU, even though there's some differences, but I don't consider them to be so substantial to differentiate them. Then there are WHO guidance, which actually is not a legally binding guidance, it's an advice. WHO has no legal authority, but many countries have developed their own guideline, and that's a third category. Amalgamating some from WHO, some from FDA, some from the local interests. So there is another whole slew of guidelines available. And then there's some countries decide to have no guideline. They simply say these are generic products. Well, that's their issue. So let's talk about how all these different guidelines affect your ability to sell the product globally. First of all, I think nobody should disagree with me that these are here. Okay, 70% of all new drugs are biologic. So you can see that as the patents expire. But even today, there are more than 100 products, and I'll give you a flash list of those available as biosimilars. There's no shortage of products to make. Generally, people follow certain most popular ones, okay, but so biosimilars is no longer a choice for pharma companies. You have to have it if you want to survive, if not today, then certainly tomorrow. I am a big believer that you can develop any product locally because that's where you want to develop. But you develop with the aim to sell globally. We are living in a global economy. If your product cannot be sold anywhere in the world, literally, then you have shortchanged yourself. One of the sad part about this suggestion that I have is that many local agencies have developed guidelines that you are tempted to comply with that will totally make sure that you cannot sell the product anywhere else. They've also spoiled you in giving you shortcuts, which, if nothing else, it compromises the safety of products. But also, I think you should start with a plan. Okay, that's where I found in my work with companies. Sometimes they don't really have a detailed plan. Just go and make it. Okay? It's not going to work like that. Okay? So here's my question to somebody who is in the field. It takes more science to develop biosimilars than biologics. Reason is very simple. When you have a new drug, then you do all the toxicology, all the efficacy, and there you are. In the biosimilars, you have to, if I use it as a pun, you have to make it just as bad as the reference product. Now, many of the features of reference product may not be essential to safety or efficacy, but you don't have the liberty of questioning them. So it takes more science, means it takes more creative efforts. Yes, less work, of course, but it requires more creativity on your part. Some of the things, which I will repeat is that, so two of the most popular things, is that I need to get a higher expression line. I can give you all the calculations that they do not reduce the COGS, only the size of your bioreactor. But at the cost of increasing the variability, your glycation pattern can be all over. Okay, when you push a living entity to do more, understand. Okay, it's going to give you variable results. Okay, it's not a big science I'm talking about. You can also, in my opinion, if you have done a good job, you should be able to get a waiver for clinical efficacy testing. The reason why every product approved so far did it, not necessarily because it was needed, but because they wanted to do it. It has more to do with the marketing. So we'll talk about that. And then, one of the things we do as human beings, we try to learn from the successes and failures of others. In the case of biosimilars, okay, if you push too much importance to that, it's not going to work out. Many companies have done it wrong. Many companies could have done it better. So yes, examine everything, but then make your own decision on what needs to be done. Don't use novel technologies, because if agencies are not familiar with it, then it takes a longer time. Today, there are 100 plus products available. Make a choice which is novel selection process. Okay, we have a large success in there. And then it's not a big pride to be number one, because that would have cost you a lot more money, a lot more time. Number 2 and 3 is okay with me, because there's enough opportunity, commercial opportunity. They're all bold blockbuster products. Okay, so don't run after, I'm going to be the first one in the field to do this. Okay, not good idea. Make a global dossier. I cannot give you more emphasis. Okay, don't make it just for your own market. Okay, make one single dossier good for everybody. And there's a lot of things you can do. You can get free advice from FDA. But you should know how to call the meetings, okay? You don't want to waste your questions, okay? If every time FDA says yes, yes to you, okay, you haven't asked the right question. And once you have this written confirmation, and you could get it no matter where you are in the world, okay? You don't need to be a US company to do it. And then you take a stepwise approach to doing it. So you don't repeat the study, you don't make the mistakes over and over again. The development master plan is the key to start with. Okay, the plan starts after you have had your first meeting with FDA. To do the first meeting with FDA, you have to have the molecule expressed and a sample ready. And when you come back, okay, then you create your entire plan. So none of those studies that will cost a lot of money or time will have to be repeated again. How many lots to go? Where do you get them? And all these are not anything that you don't know, except you must plan to do no animal tox work. I'm totally against it, because these molecules have been tested as a new drug in a lot of species. You know the toxicology. The purpose of toxicology testing is to show the difference, not the toxicology, which I think can be done better if you do a PK study in animals in a larger species. For most maps, I would take 4 or 5 monkeys and do a PK. I think agency will accept this. No problem at all. When you do the PK study, I think it's possible for you to do a single study, if it's done, is properly designed, to answer all the questions as your final study. When you say I'm using a sensitive population, most people make a mistake. The sensitive means being able to show the difference, not the response. You use sensitive population in the new drugs, but for the biosimilars, you want to know the difference, not the response. And then, if I were you, I will always go to agency and says, tell me what is the residual uncertainty left, so that I will be required to do any more efficacy testing. You'll be surprised how many times they will agree with you. FDA and EMA combined have approved many products in many multiple copies. You can see which is the most popular product, second most popular, third most popular. TRAS2 is the only product that is included in the WHO list of essential drugs. You don't have to follow this track. Okay, I think I will leave all the most popular ones to others. Okay, I'll go for the less popular ones. They are all equally good products. Here's the list. 100 products, the expired patents. I recommend them. Okay, don't do the red ones. Just go all the black ones. Okay, you can have a great portfolio. And then I was always say you should decimate the dogmas. Okay, I think dogmas are the ones that keep us from being who we are. You have to commit to quality. Okay. And Part 11 compliance. As many companies that I've seen they receive warning letters from FDA. You may not give much importance to it, okay, but you destroy your reputation for all time to come. Part 11 gives you a very good opportunity to stay compliant. Quality is not a question. Uh, if you're selling it in your country, your patients need the same quality that you will be needing if you sell it into another country. So make that sacrifice and make a single quality. And then I'm a big fan, I have trained many young people. Okay, I think, I want you to bring in a lot of new, creative young minds to replace what I call the spoil industry standard people. So when I meet somebody who say, well, I'm doing it because this is the industry standard, I get very upset. Okay, I said, who created this standard? I think you should question everything. This is called a Socratean approach. Why am I doing it? Why am I doing it? Not because it is done this way. And you will find that there are many, many good opportunities to cut the time to market if you do so. You should be ready to learn. Not everybody knows everything. In my consulting services, I come across some very interesting people, okay, from saying that, oh, I know everything. I say, yes, okay, that's exactly what I think you don't know. So I think keep your mind open to other possibilities. That's the only way you can be creative. And keep in mind, okay, the time is of essence. Okay, if you get there faster, um, you will save a lot of money and your ROI will be better. But if you keep repeating studies, okay, because you didn't plan them correctly, that can easily kill your project. Okay? And then if you're getting into biosimilars, which I think you should, make a long-term plan. I don't want you to be a company with one or two biosimilars. I want you to have dozens of them because the hundreds are going to be available. And with that, I want to thank you for listening to me and for paying attention to a very significant project that you all will have. Happy and stay safe.